image. The advantage of Sony is that the color is more cinematic on it's a more muted color on purpose because it's meant to look more real, and you're getting a sharper image period. So when you do gaming, it's gonna look a lot better. And the thing is, what makes Sony different from other brands is they legit have a processor in their TV that handles motion. That's all it does. So it's called an X1. So X1, if you're watching action movies or playing video games, you ever see like when you play video games, sometimes you get like a ghost image when you turn really quickly. Yeah. So with this one, you're not gonna get that. Everything's gonna be silky smooth. So that's another thing about the Sony TVs that make it objectively better than Samsung TVs, right? Now, what's QLED versus LED? So QLED basically means that Samsung just basically spams flashlights, like they're called panels, but they spam flashlights in behind their TV, and that's what makes the colors pop more.
They have a grid, like a grid of lights.
Yeah, so it's like a grid of just lights, and it just point it at the colors, and it's gonna pop more, right? Sony's like, nah, we're not trying to do that because we want to try to keep the picture as realistic as possible. So they invest their money more into making sure that movement is as clean as possible.
Okay.
So that's why they invest more in the X1. Now, what is the Sony the best in? OLEDs. So now you have LED and you have OLED. What's OLED? OLED is organic LED. Organic LED means, you know how I told you that you're getting 4,000 dots going from left to right?
But it's really 3,000 something.
What happened?
It's really 3,000 something. 3,860. Yeah.
Now, going from top to bottom is like another 2,000, depending on how big the TV, 2,160. There we go, 2,160, right? But that also depends on how big the actual TV is, right? Now, 3,840 times 2160, that's millions and millions and millions of pixels.
Right.
So as I told you before,
That's a lot.
so like I told you before, with LEDs, with QLEDs and LEDs, you have zones. So you have zones in the TV that decide how bright something is going to be or how dim something is going to be in the picture, right?
Okay.
That include like a bunch of millions of pixels. With OLED, you turn on either the A8G or the A9G, whichever one you want. Now this is where it gets crazy.
They need to promote you for this.
With OLED, what you're basically getting is that every single pixel, every single dot on this TV has their own brightness level.
Okay.
So
I see what you're saying.
microscopic dots, and they all have their own brightness. So that means that when you're watching, like, let's say The Godfather or like a forest scene like this, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you're seeing in the dark that's supposed to be like you're not going to be able to see in real life, that black right there, the TV's off. In that part of the TV. In that small part of that TV, the TV is completely off. So each individual pixel has its own brightness level. So this picture, I'm not gonna say it's not as bright as a Sony, no way. But wouldn't you say that it's better because it looks way more realistic?
Right.
Because everything has its own individual brightness.
Also,
So yeah, now
the TVs are really thin because there's no actual backlight behind the screen.
because the pixel itself has a LED and has a what's it called, a flashlight inside of it, as you could say, right? So these guys over here, now what's their weakness? When it comes to gaming, they look it's a fantastic TV. The problem is that you could screw these TVs very easily. How? Because, and you could correct me if I'm wrong about this, because I know that they fixed it over the years. But the problem with OLEDs is that how they used to work is, let's say you play Call of Duty or FIFA or NBA 2K, right? You know how you always have something, like for example, when you play Call of Duty, you're always going to have the ammo in the bottom left corner. If you're playing NBA, you're always going to have the score in the top left corner. If you, God forbid, keep that on for more than 12 hours or 6 hours, a day or something, it's going to be burned into the TV. Because that pixel isn't meant to stay at a specific brightness for that long. So it's gonna be stamped onto the TV.
Okay.
So when you buy them, you have to get a protection plan. But if you want the best, most realistic picture, you go for an OLED TV.
And the thing too, on Samsung, the QLEDs, they don't suffer from that problem at all.
Yeah, but Samsung, they don't want to make OLEDs because Samsung's philosophy, so Sony's philosophy is realistic, cinematic, and the best motion.
But they don't give a fuck if it breaks down because of that point you just
Well,
said.
it's not really, it doesn't really break down because I don't work in home theater, but you would know, right? Like they fix, because it used to be like, if it's 3 hours, it's broken. But now it's like if it's like I think it's 12 hours or a day, like 24
it's
hours.
a day or something.
Yeah, it would like break. But what the TV
Break how? Like you see a dead pixel?
like it would no, like it would be
image would
it'd
get
either be a
burned.
dead pixel or be
Oh,
burned
okay.
in.
Wow.
But they have like now with the TVs, they have like refreshers that basically like let's say you don't use the TV for a certain period of time, it just turns off or
Goes
goes
away.
into sleep mode.
Okay.
It
Right?
has a mechanism that takes it out.
So yeah, it's not like
Okay.
you're paying for freaking glass. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be protected, right? But the whole thing about Samsung is their thing is that no, we want to have the picture as bright and as colorful as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sony they have it. It's imagine just two very good products but in different directions.
I see what
They
you're
have
saying.
Yeah.
different visions of what makes the
Yeah.
picture good.
Right.
Personally, I would go for an OLED.
Yeah, the OLEDs are the best that we have.
Yeah.
I thought LG was the top of the top.
When it comes to OLEDs, they're neck and neck, to be honest with you. But put this into perspective. Sony created the OLED technology. They sold the rights of it to LG. And then LG kind of refined it. So when Sony gave the rights of the OLED technology to LG, they told them, listen, we're going to do a contract and you're going to give us the OLEDs at like a very, very cheap price because we technically invented it. But you can say that you made it or whatever. And they're like, okay,
Right.
fine. So they both make OLEDs.
The thing about
They're both good.
the thing about the LG is that I was reading that they have G-Sync. So if you game a lot,
Yes,
What is that?
the newer LG. So now this is what we get into what Victor talked about, right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing like gaming, yeah, but that's only if you connect a PC to the.
yeah, to a PC.
I don't do
yeah.
PC.
Yeah, so you do console, right?
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
don't just basically
yeah.
G-Sync
It's
is
a
like
moot point.
it's like it basically syncs the computer like a computer with the TV, so that what I explained with the Sonys, it's like that but on steroids.
Wow.
So when you click, when you make a click, or when you move your mouse, or when you press a button, there's gonna be like a less than a millisecond response time.
Yeah,
into you seeing it on the TV.
It's a very quick response time and good motion too.
But if
because
you're
of the
not,
G-Sync.
if you're not like a competitive gamer, if you're not like
probably
someone
wouldn't
that's like
mind.
on, Red Bull
Yeah.
or some shit, then these are perfectly fine too. Like these work amazing with the PS4. Like this is meant to work with the
Right.
PS4 Pro, obviously, right? Like you could use your PS4 as a remote instead of your regular remote for the TV if you wanted to. Yeah, but if you get a TV like this, a protection plan is a must.
Yeah.
Is it like you're spending $2,500 or like what's regular price like $2,800?
Yeah.
You want protection on that because if you have any issues with the TV, we go out to your house and we fix it if there's an issue.
This
The
has
only
Android, too.
thing that Best Buy doesn't cover is if there's physical damage on the TV. But if there's pixel burn-in, if the drivers that aren't working, if the
That
speaker
doesn't make
work,
like too much sense. It's like,
what?
Well, the reason
weren't there? Go ahead, remember.
the reason is because the panels are expensive. So if you
Right,
physically
right.
damage the panel, it costs a lot of money to fix. So,
So-
they'd rather just
So I could literally damage it by just taking it off the box like accidentally.
yeah. That's why it would be good to have it with protection because if you
But yeah, I just said we don't
depends-
cover it.
It depends on what you do with it.
Oh,
like,
okay.
like how you damage it.
All right, right.
Well, what's physical damage? If I see a baseball bat mark on the TV,
Like my girlfriend hit it.
or like no, like seriously, yeah, or like yeah, like you said, like we sell you the TV, and you drop the TV as you're taking it upstairs or whatever, like that's
the
not
only
covered.
thing. That's the only
The whole point of the protection plan is that we're assuming that the TV is like you place the TV on a stand
And that's
or the
it.
TV is mounted, and you're just
stop
doing
working.
normal wear and tear. Normal wear and tear means that if you're using the TV in the state that it's meant to be used in,
Right.
Yeah.
and it breaks down.
What if there's an earthquake? And that shit just falls.
But
I hope you have house insurance. You gotta be worried about your house. Yeah.
But the TV is just, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, well, hypothetically, I mean, let's entertain that situation, right? If that were to happen,
Like the end of the
I'm
world.
gonna tell you what we do cover. So there's scenarios where sometimes the speakers of a TV, like let's say you play a TV at. This is why we also recommend a soundbar. So if you play a TV at louder than 60% volume, this is not happens all the time, but
Speakers
it's
blow.
possible. No, not the speaker. The speakers, well, they could blow, but it's not more. It's more that the panels of the TV, right? So the TVs have layers, right? So like I said, for example, with LED, you have the physical, like the pixels, and then you have like the flashlights, right? So they'll move from side to side as the TV speakers are blaring because the TV speakers, like look how skinny these TVs are.
and I
So like
think,
if the speakers is shooting sound out, right? And the panels are like the TV is really skinny, it's gonna shake the TV from the inside. If the panels get shaken like this, you're basically gonna have two separate pictures. Then you're gonna have like a ghost image. So you know when you wear like those 3D glasses
Yeah.
in like movie theaters and stuff,
Right.
it's gonna look like that. It's not gonna be like if you pay attention, you're gonna be able to see it. It's gonna be annoying. It's not gonna be like it's gonna be
once you
noticeable.
see it, you cannot.
It's not
see
gonna
it.
be something that is like
can't see it.
out there, But when you watch, sometimes you're gonna notice it in certain
I think I know what
scenarios.
he's talking about. Yeah.
Now that would be covered because you're using the TV as intended,
Right.
and it broke down. So what we do is we go out into your house and we fix it, and if we can't, we bring it back to the store.
How do you like?
How do we fix it?
Yeah, like
So-
take this shit apart. How are you gonna take it
Geek
apart?
Squad, they have like,
So
Oh,
the Geek
okay.
Squad, we have like a thing in Geek Squad is based in like I think Indiana or yeah. So they send it over there and then they fix it. They open it up from the inside. They do what they gotta do. Their magic, whatever.
they do that thing, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you like they
do
what
the
they
math.
tell us is that they go to the house and they fix it. I'm not sure if most
But
of the
they
time
really
they
ship
can
it out.
fix it.
No,
But
yeah, if they can't fix it, they
yeah,
do,
most of the
Ship it
time,
out,
yeah, most of the time, what happens is they go to the house just to like I guess verify,
Right.
and then if they find out there is a problem and they can't fix it, which is most of the time, they would be like, okay, let's put the TV in back into like a. They're gonna come with like a packaging pre-package for it to in
Yeah,
case
yeah.
they need to bring it back to the store. Bring it back to the store, ship it out to whoever. They fix it, they bring it right back.
Or you can always bring it to us too, and they'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
What do you think about the AK TVs?
So AK is a.
Not even necessary.
So the thing is,
It's like, no.
I'm not gonna say AK is a scam.
Thank you.
No,
Please
no,
do. If you
no. AK isn't a scam. Here's the thing about AK.
It's 8 times the pixels. 80,
No,
8,000
it's
pixels.
8,000, like 7,000 something dots, same concept,
There's
right?
no
But here's the
content.
thing, there's no content
Exactly.
in 8K.
Exactly.
So what's the point? When 4K came out, it was the same exact thing. Why should I get a 4K TV if there's no content, right?
Right.
Now here's the thing behind 8K, right? And it's a fair point. You're basically getting a sharper image. So what it does is it's called a super sampling. So super sampling means that it's gonna make it even sharper than it already is. But do you really need it to be that sharp?
No, I mean, if you gotta
Personally,
see the-
I'd rather have better coloring. I'd rather have more realistic covering.
Right.
Coloring, my
Coloring,
bad.
yeah, it's
So
true.
that's what I'd rather have. So because Samsung has 8K TVs
Right.
for the same price as this. But if I were to basically sit you down and I told you I could either give you a 4K TV, I could let you watch movies that are in 4K right now,
Right.
and you could have amazing color and you could have amazing sharpness. Or I told you I can give you amazing sharpness and all right color. Like even better sharpness than whatever that guy's telling. I'd rather go for the more balanced experience for the same amount of.
Right, but if I get an AK, I don't want to have to upgrade for the next, 5-10 years?
Not true, but even with
Same
this,
thing
it'd
with
be the
no.
same thing.
Even right now, there's still HD content. Not everything is in 4K.
Right, I know.
So the jump is gonna take so long.
Long.
Everything still
Yeah.
isn't in 4K.
Yeah.
For
There's no 4K TV channels.
There
And there-
really
it
isn't.
won't-
no, there
yeah.
actually is. There is. There is.
Not on cable, not the one I
No,
have.
you have to get. They're like
Not even got
packages
cable.
that you have to buy.
Huh?
You know how like sometimes when you're on Dish Network or I
All
don't know
right,
what it
you
is
have,
right
you
now,
have to
'cause
buy some channels.
you can buy like pay-per-view events or stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You can some of them have 4K.
Right.
I don't know on which services, but that exists. But mostly people stream now.
Right.
That's when people walk into the store. I always tell them, "Do you guys pay for internet or do you pay for cable or both?" And they usually tell me both. I'm like, bro, like if you're getting a 4K TV, don't bother with cable because for the most part, everything is you can stream
Stream
it,
it.
and when you do stream it, it's in 4K. So why?
will look better,
And
yeah,
it
a
looks
lot.
way better, way better. So
true.
yeah.
Just broke it down perfectly.
And also, this TV, the A8 and the A9, they have Android on them.
Bro, show them the A9G because I want to. Now there's like a difference between like the A8. The A9 is the newer one.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, but basically like they fine tune it even more, so it's like even deeper blacks or whites or whatever. Now as far as that, like I'm not 100% sure on what the difference is between the two.
There it is.
By the way, Sony is Netflix's official TV.
Yeah, and they have a Netflix calibrator mode
Right
too.
there.
Shit looks nice.
What it is it has a mode specifically for Netflix that it enhances the contrast a lot more.
You know what I've noticed? It's a good picture, don't get me wrong. But the screen is a lot of reflection, if you notice.
Yeah, the
So
sound.
that's
I'm just saying, I'm
That's
just
another
saying.
thing about OLEDs. Yes, because you're having it's organic. It's not. That's the other thing about Samsung. So
They
they
have a glass
eliminate
now.
that by making it bright. They eliminate that situation. So that's why I always ask people like, are you gonna put it? If people are putting their TV next to windows and stuff like that, that's why sometimes I tell them go for LG because LG has that coating that stops. The reflections. But in an ideal, like if someone's willing to spend $3,000 or $2,800 for a TV,
It would be
I would think that they have like the ideal place to put it in.
That's true.
So yeah.
And even in a room with light, you can still see it. It's still like
Yeah, it's still
you know,
seeable, but yeah.
It's just that the glare might.
It might
But then
bother
in
some
that
people.
case, then you might want to go for like a LG OLED TV in that case.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the Samsungs do have a glass that absorbs light, so it reduces
You won't
the
see that.
reflection. Huh?
So you won't see the
light
reflection.
reflections, yeah.
Because it might bother some people. Like to me, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But
I think for in your case, like if you have the extra money, get one of these, the A9 or the A8, because the A8 is basically the A9, but with a step down in all the features. So this has something called acoustic sound surface, like what he was
snap.
saying.
Well-
So this wait, okay, so
But
wait,
this is the plus.
So the A9 has a sound, not a sound bar, but it's like speakers, and they go through the TV.
Yes. And then this
Yeah.
has the acoustic
Isn't
sound surface, just the sound surface. This is the plus version of that. So you get
What's the
better.
difference?
You get better sound quality, and I think it has an extra driver in between the screen.
Oh,
Doesn't
you
it-
get
There's a
better
difference.
directional sound.
Yeah, better
So basically,
yeah.
to put it into perspective, regular TVs, how they work is when you don't get a sound bar, the speakers on them are behind the TV. How they work is they're supposed to hit a wall
Right.
and then bounce right back.
Yeah,
this is going
How
straight
the
to you.
A8 exactly, the sound goes through the screen.
yeah.
Isn't
And
that
they have a technology for
Isn't
that.
that more
Vibration.
chance of vibration and even like breaking it or
Well,
ruining
yes,
it?
but you have to keep in mind that they go through testing and stuff like that. So that brings the chance down again that something like that is going to happen.
But don't put it on full blast.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
I would still rather you get a soundbar because
yeah.
how these TVs work is you're supposed to use that technology. They wouldn't put it in for no reason, but it's meant to be supplemental.
Wow.
So when you get like tower
Crazy
speakers, right?
thing.
It's
Then, yeah.
exactly right. So when you get a soundbar or like tower speakers, this is used as a sensor driver, and then you would have the soundbar that would give you like the directional sound. It's not surround sound unless you have like a full like towers
Yeah.
behind you, but you get the directional sound.
Unless you have a nice stable place to put the TV, like on a table, I would recommend mounting it on the wall
Yes.
because
You see, wait, let me see if I could get a look at it because I didn't.
it's very very thin. It's like a piece
Yeah,
of
like if you
paper.
look at it from
It's
the
like a
side, like
fucking
it's super
paper.
thin, right? But then you
Yeah.
can see this kind of like the sound bar behind it, like the speaker behind it.
It's gonna be in
Oh,
that little
okay.
box
Yeah.
behind the TV, those drivers.
That's the okay. We're saying that's the speaker? Nah.
Well,
what
yes,
I
that's
thought,
like it's. I don't want to say it's a sound bar because a sound bar is meant to give you directional
Right.
sound. This is kind of like, wait, let's say you don't have a sound bar in a scenario where you don't have a sound bar. The sound comes straight at you, but it's not really directional, right? You can tell simple left and right out, but barely. When you have a sound bar, you can tell right, left, center. You can tell it out, and then this will become a dedicated sensor driver.
Either way, once you have a nice sound bar, you're not gonna want to go back to using the speaker TV.
100%, man. Because when
Yeah.
you watch like movies, just the simple act of someone walking from right to left and they're speaking, and
feel
you
it.
physically, like, you'll feel the sound coming from the right side of the TV, and then the middle, and then the left side. So you'll feel like it coming out.
Do you have one of these joints or not?
Soundbars? Yeah, you can.
No,
get
I'm talking about
soundbars.
the TVs.
These TVs? No, I have what I bought. Well, the
got
thing
a
is, my
1080.
uncle has a 950G, and then I got my dad. Me and my brother got my dad a 950G as well. So I don't have a OLED. But I was like, if I buy one for myself, I would get one for myself. But that's when I move out.
Yeah, why don't they make you this head of he broke it
Bro,
down.
you think that we're nice? Yo,